Hey guys, welcome back to Breaking Boards. My name is Randy, and in this video, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to dive deep into the world of NFL BestBall over on Underdog Fantasy, focusing specifically on the tight end position. I'll share 3 of my top tight end targets that are primed to score big and boost your fantasy lineups in 2024, along with 3 players that you should avoid at the tight end position as well to maximize your chances of winning. Whether you're new to BestBall or you're a seasoned player looking for expert insights, this breakdown will help you make informed decisions for your upcoming drafts. Stay tuned for valuable tips and strategies to elevate your fantasy game in 2024. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the video if you find this information useful. And let's dominate this NFL fantasy season together. Let's get into some best ball content. Number 1 on our tight ends to avoid list is going to be the Tennessee Titans tight end, Chig Okongwo. He's coming off the board at pick 190.4 over on Underdog, or coming off the board as tight end number 24. In Will Levis's 8 starts during the 2023 season, Chig scored a combined 0 touchdowns. The following are 5 tight ends who matched Chig's touchdown output during the 23 season. Top of the draft board names such as Lucas Kroll, Elijah Higgins, Josh Wiley, Quentin Morris, and no, not the NWO guy, and Charlie Kohler. Chig had 1 touchdown during the 23 season. The Titans brought in Brian Callahan for head coach during the 2024 season. Callahan, who will also serve as the offensive coordinator and play caller, was previously OC in Cincinnati. During his tenure with Cincinnati from 2019 to 2024, tight ends averaged 1 double-digit fantasy point game per season, a total of 5 double-digit scores in 5 years. This is a team that also added Calvin Ridley, which on the surface doesn't seem like a lot, but Ridley was ranked 3rd in the NFL for red zone targets during the 2023 season. Ridley saw 25 red zone targets during the 23 season in Jacksonville. There's not a lot of tight ends that come off the board after Chig, but you want to ensure that you have the tight end position covered with 2 more solid options. If you choose to take Chig later in drafts, you're going to want to pair him with a firm tight end 1 option. Temper your expectations for a guy who's probably going to settle in the 4 to 6 fantasy point per game region. Tight end number 2 on our do not draft list is going to be TJ Hockenson. He's coming off the board at pick 145.5 on Underdog, or going off the board at tight end number 15. TJ tore his ACL and his MCL in December of 2023. He couldn't have his final knee surgery until late January of 2024. Recovery from this injury typically takes 9 months minimum, which puts his return to the field approximately October to November timeframe. That timeline puts him returning to the field between weeks 7 and weeks 13. Upon returning to the field, he'll be attempting to build a rapport with a rookie quarterback. Trying to build that timing and relationship during live games is going to be tough. I doubt you see TJ Hockenson return as the old TJ Hockenson until at best the best ball playoffs, weeks 15 through 17. If you plan to select Hockenson in your underdog drafts this season, you need to ensure that you have a firm tight end 1 option. Given the uncertainty surrounding the situation, I prefer to skip Hockenson in this range, and I look to take players like Ty Chandler, Colt Kmet, Marshawn Lloyd, or even Kirk Cousins. Please just understand what you're getting into when you draft TJ Hockenson this season at his current price. If you were around 18 through round 20 pick, I would consider giving TJ a click. But at his current price, I will be full fading TJ in the 2024 season. Tight end number 3 on our do not draft list is going to be the Baltimore Ravens tight end, Isaiah Likely. He's coming off the board at pick 183.5 or as the tight end 22. It's difficult to discuss Likely without considering the health of Mark Andrews. Andrews played 10 games during the 2023 season. In those 10 games, Andrews averaged 13.5 fantasy points per game. During that same 10-game stretch, Likely scored 1.6 fantasy points per game, compared to the 12.1 fantasy points per game without Andrews on the field. Now, I'm not in the market of predicting injuries. However, if you see Andrews staying even remotely healthy in 2024, then likely is someone that I likely won't be taking when I find myself on the clock. Couple this with the fact that Underdog is a zero point 0.5 PPR scoring site, which places an emphasis on finding players with touchdown upside. Likely scored exactly 0 touchdowns in games where Andrews saw the field in the 2023 season. Couple this with the fact that this offense just added touchdown royalty and King Henry to the mix. Hey guys, sorry to take a break from the video, but I really wanted to jump back in here and talk to you guys about the 3 tight ends that we just discussed before we jump into the tight ends that we prefer. Number 1 on our list was Chig Okongwo from the Tennessee Titans. Now, I do see Tennessee throwing the ball more during the 2024 season. I'm just not sure that Chig Okongwo is going to be the guy who benefits from them throwing the ball more. Maybe on a PPR side, I would consider him to be a tight end 2 option, but just limited touchdown upside kind of keeps him back for me, and I view him more of that fringe tight end 2, tight end 3 range. I like to talk a lot about how players relate to playing cards, right? So if you have the ability or the need to draft Chig Okongwo in your 2024 underdog draft, you're going to want to make sure that you pair him only with a guy like Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, or Mark Andrews, a guy who can keep you afloat. You want an ace like Laporta, you want an ace like Kelce, or you want an ace like Andrews before you think about adding a 6 or a 7 like Chig Okongwo. Tight end number 2 on our list was TJ Hockenson. This one's a little strange for me because I do like the player. However, I just don't like the situation during the 2024 season. I think there's very, very limited upside, and I think you're buying a lot of downside here with TJ. If that's someone you're going to click, you need to have a very specific plan in place to get to your fantasy playoffs and hope that Hockenson is back to health before that time. And finally, tight end number 3 is Isaiah Likely. It's almost the reverse of the Hockenson situation. Now that Andrews is back on the field, he's going to be the player that I prefer in this setup. You got guys stealing touchdowns from Likely like Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. These are all players that I trust more in the red zone if I'm coaching the Baltimore Ravens. And I think that's how the Ravens coaches will see it moving into the 24 season. Likely just isn't a tight end 2 to me, and I won't be taking him much in this year's drafts. Now that we discussed those guys, let's hop back in and look at 3 tight end options that we prefer during our 2024 drafts over on Underdog. Tight end number 1 that we're going to look to draft is going to be Dallas Cowboys tight end Jake Ferguson. He's coming off the board at pick 86.1, or as the tight end number 9. Target competition has remained relatively unchanged in Dallas since the beginning of the 2024 NFL offseason. When Dallas entered the red zone during the 23 season, they looked for 2 players, CeeDee Lamb, who saw 27 red zone targets, and Jake Ferguson, who saw 24. Ferguson led the entire NFL for red zone targets at the tight end position during the 23 season. And I don't see Dallas moving far away from that game plan in the 2024 season. Barring injury, I view this as a safe floor pick, and Ferguson falls in that range where you start to see a steep decline at the tight end position. I see Ferguson finishing the 24 season as a top 10 tight end, with top 5 fantasy upside. If I don't have a tight end by the time that I see Ferguson's name at the top of my draft board, I begin to get very worried. Tight end number 2 on the list of these are the guys we want at tight end is going to be David Njoku, going off the board at pick 101.8, or as the tight end number 11. Njoku produced a very solid 2023 season. He ranked 3rd in total targets among tight ends at 123. Njoku also finished tied for 2nd at the position in red zone targets during the 23 season. He saw 20 red zone targets, tying Travis Kelce, both of which fall behind another player on this list that we just mentioned, Jake Ferguson. Njoku was able to perform at a high level during the 2023 season, even with a revolving door at quarterback. Cleveland started the following QBs in 23: Deshaun Watson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Joe Flacco, PJ Walker, and Jeff Driscoll. This Cleveland offense, while historically run heavy during the Nick Chubb era, will more than likely be without Chubb to start the year, leading to Njoku maintaining his red zone target share during the 24 season. Njoku is again going off the board at tight end number 11, However, I actually have him ranked as the tight end number 10 to start the season, with some room for growth. He did complete the 2023 season as the tight end number 6. And finally, our tight end number 3 of guys that you want heading into the 2024 NFL BestBall drafts over on Underdog is going to be cover boy Travis Kelce. He's going off the board at pick number 39.2, or the tight end number 2. Another NFL season upcoming, another year of Travis Kelce in the conversation for the top overall tight end. This choice is more about Kelce's ADP versus sites like overall and DraftKings. Kelce is going roughly 15 picks after Sam Laporta on Underdog versus coming off the board 4 picks before Laporta on DK. This is a Kansas City offense that retooled a bit during the 2024 offseason and brought in the likes of Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, both of which should help KC move the ball down the field. However, in the red zone is where Kelce's going to dominate. And given the scoring system over on Underdog, this is where we want to take advantage of the ADP and the player in Travis Kelce. As I mentioned before with David Njoku, Travis Kelce finished tied for second in tight end red zone targets. However, he was second alone in tight end red zone targets per game in the 2023 season, falling only behind a tight end that I do like on Underdog, but was just a close runner-up for today's list. And that's going to be Mark Andrews. Hey guys, now that we've discussed those players, let's talk a little bit about the players that we like at the tight end position over on Underdog. Number 1 on our draft list is going to be Jake Ferguson, the Dallas Cowboys tight end. Ferguson just doesn't have any competition for targets in the red zone outside of CeeDee Lamb. You throw in Zeke, who kind of just replaces Pollard, and this offense is going to look eerily similar to what it did in 2023, which for fantasy scoring isn't a bad thing. I would imagine that Dallas is right on track for another first-round exit. Tight end number 2 on our draft list was going to be David Njoku. I just think when you eliminate a player like Nick Chubb from an offense, there's going to be more red zone attempts. And I know that Chubb missed a lot of the 2023 season as well, but Njoku thrived in those games that Chubb was gone. I like David Njoku a lot here. I think he has top tight end upside, and I think he definitely falls within the top 10 tight ends in the 2024 season. And finally, Travis Kelce. What more can you say about this guy other than every year, year in, year out, he comes to play and he finishes in the top 3. I think we see nothing different here in 2024 as Kansas City looks to get more offensively back on track.